when I came to this town. There was nothing that was holding me back. Couple years of running around, you start to question your convictions. Long car, jet black, fast loving, that's a fact. Mind those words that you say. High heel, gold strap, cold heart will pay it back. Mind those games that you play. Back then you were a friend of mine. Everything was black and white. The city life has changed your mind. Expose the gray of your conviction. Long car, jet black, hard loving, break your back. Mind those words that you say. High heel, gold strap, cold eye, won't change the fact. Mind those games that you play. Long car, jet black, fast loving, that's a fact. Mind those words that you say. High heel, gold strap, cold heart will pay you back. Mind those games that you play. Long car, jet black, hard loving, break your back. Mind those words that you say. High heel, gold strap, cold eye,
All right, here we go. All right. We into this. Here we go. All right. All right, y'all see I got the Supreme American Tea on. All right. You can go down below and hit the link if you want one of these Supreme American teas. Put your order in. We're taking sizes and everything. Those of you who want the Supreme American tea, represent as Supreme Americans of America. America and only America. We're about to get off into this. All right. A lot of things been going on, and we're gonna do some recapping. We definitely gonna do some recapping. All right. Let me just check my sound. Am I coming in clear? I want to make sure I'm coming in clear. All right. Check my sound, everything. All right. I'll make sure we coming in clear. Yeah. All right. All right. All right. Am I coming in clear? Let's get it. We got a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about tonight. The topic for tonight, before we go into it, in the name of Lord, Amen, I share this message and I share these thoughts, these logical thoughts, these rational thoughts, these extended thoughts. Tonight's topic is: should we really be seeking federal recognition as first Americans? Plus, other current events is going on. One of the major current events going on is FBA. The FBA, Mr. Tariq Nasheed, who reps FBA hard. I don't want to call him the leader of the FBA because he say he's not a leader, so I'm not going to disrespect the man and call him a leader if that's what he say he's not. Let's just say FBA influencer. We'll say that. FBA influencer, Mr. Tariq Nasheed, is now leaning more toward the American indigenous, heritage when it comes to, FBA. FBA is leaning more toward that. How many of y'all caught that? How many of you caught Tariq Nasheed's latest cast? It was one. It was called. I ain't gonna look back on this page, but I had it up on mine. It was something about a Senegalese man or something like that. If you look back, you hear him saying right now, that the FBA. He talking about his own family heritage, and he's saying he's not finding no slave ships in his family heritage. Mr. Tariq Nasheed. Well. Mr. Tariq Nasheed said he's not finding no African slave ships in his lineage. He said he found his people in North Carolina were connected to the Lumbee Indians. Right? How many of y'all seen that? Y'all seen that? He changing his tune now. Didn't I tell you he was going to do that? Told you he was going to do that. I knew he was going to do that. You know why? And I'm not saying he didn't really go out and do the due diligence and check out his lineage for real. I'm not going to say he didn't do that because honestly, that's not hard to really fathom or come across. Y'all like the Supreme American tea? Y'all like the Supreme American tea? Make sure my camera wiped off. Y'all like the Supreme American tea? Y'all could order one for $42. Supreme American. You can order one for $42. We got the sizes in and everything. All right. If you want one, you can order one. We got some sizes in and whatnot. So, yeah, rocking the Supreme American. And it's nice quality cotton, But anyway, so, yeah, he done changed up his tune. But we're going to get off into that in a second. Let's get off into this federal recognition thing. Because I hear a lot of our people now that the knowledge is coming out of who we are as first Americans. And I'm hearing a lot of people talk about getting federal recognition as American Indians, American indigenous, or as we say, first Americans. I hear a lot of people saying that. You see? A lot of people are now a lot of people are, leaning toward who we are as first Americans of America. And they talking about getting federal recognition. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I got an issue with that. I'm gonna tell you the issue I got with that. It sounds crazy to me that the real American indigenous people, the real Americans, us, so-called Black Americans, the people who had their selves reclassified, had their status reclassified in this country from American Indian to American Negro to mulatto and colored and all this other stuff, then eventually down to Black because I mean they was calling us Negro, they was calling us black in Spanish, but we was called the Negroes of America, of the land, right? And you had the Africans, the Negroes of Africa Guinea, they call Africa Guinea, right? Is that the people who went out of their way to reclassify us, the people who made it a point to go out of their way to reclassify us, to hide us in plain view, we're now going to go and ask these people for federal recognition. Does that even make, yeah, Senegalese man claims he never heard of scam degrees from Africa. Yeah, that's, thank you. Thank you, Enru, brother Aaron. Yeah, that's the name of the Tariq Nasheed show if y'all haven't seen it. Senegalese man claims he never heard of scammer degrees from Africa. The video is referring to Tariq Tariq Nasheed. Okay, so in that video, if you go on his timeline, you see the video, that video right there with that title. You'll hear Tariq Nasheed in there starting to erase the whole African narrative to his background. He's starting to erase it. He's starting to erase the whole African, the whole FBA. Well, now someone get off into the. I don't want to cut off into that. I'm sorry. I want to get off into. I want to lead into this. So again, why are we, as first Americans, seeking federal recognition from foreigners? Does that make sense? That we, as first Americans of America, are going to seek federal recognition from a foreign government that's here, because the federal government is a European government. I'm going to say it again. The federal government is not an American government. It's a European implanted government here in North America. It is not, because the men who founded this country are not Americans. George Washington is not an American. I don't care how long he been here, whatever the case may be, or the rest of them, John Adams and all the other so-called founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, they're not Americans. They're Englishmen who came, or their families came into America. They migrated into America. They're not Americans. And at one point in time, they weren't even called Americans. That's why you go to the 1828 Merriam-Webster dictionary definition of American, and you see who the real Americans are being described as the copper-colored races who were found here. The copper-colored races who were found here by the Europeans. They were still being referred to as Europeans in the 1828 Merriam-Webster dictionary definition of American. They were still being referred to as Europeans, not as Americans. Then it said right in that description that they eventually took on the name American, but that don't make you American. You don't get to come from a whole nother land and claim a whole nother land as your nationality. So there's no such thing as white Americans. There's Europeans in America calling themselves Americans, but there's no such thing as white Americans. You're not American by nationality, and neither are the Native Americans. They're not American by nationality neither. The only people that's American by nationality is the people they're calling black people, black Americans. That's it. And so to go and have to ask these people for federal recognition so we can be part of some tribe, some tribal thing. And I'm like, really? Does that even sound right? Does that even make sense? Does that even make sense? Does that make sense that we are going to ask the federal government that went out of their way to reclassify us, to hide us from the world as the real Americans, because they wanted to be the face of America? They created their own flag that they call the American flag. And that's not the American flag. That's the United States flag. That's the United States flag. That's not an American flag. Because the only people that could really have an American flag are the people, the original people of this land. That's the only people. And it's not the Native Americans. They're not the original people of this land. The only original people of this land is black Americans. And they're the only ones who can really raise an American flag here. That's like me going to Italy and saying, okay, I've been in Italy. My family been in Italy or Germany or France or whatever. We've been here for 2 or 3 generations. So now, we're going to raise up our own German or France or Italian flag. Right? With that, and now I'm Italian. I'm Italian now, and I'm gonna raise up my own Italian flag. No place else that would stand. Not morally, not righteously, not geographically. No place else that would stand. You see? No place else would that stand. So why should Europeans be able to come over into America and create a flag and then call themselves Americans when the real Americans were still here. The real Americans didn't die off. The real Americans are still here. They just reclassified us. So why is it okay for them to come here and establish a government here and call themselves Americans when they're Europeans? How do they just get to geographically take a whole land? Not just so the government took the land, but they get to take the nationality too. When the real people who are still here, the real people that built this country through the slave labor, the forced labor that was never paid, the real people that built this land, they're still here. The real Americans, the first Americans are still here. The original Americans are still here. And it's so sad that we don't even recognize ourselves as that. We don't even recognize ourselves as the first Americans of America. We don't recognize that. When we think America, we think white people. That's how much the propaganda machine that's been running for a whole century and a half, that you start to think about when you think American, all you think about is white people, because they stay waving the United States flag. Again, that's a United States flag. No disrespect to the United States government, not at all. But the truth is the truth. That's a United States flag. That's not an American flag. The United States and America are two totally different things. I'm going to say it again. The United States and America are not the same thing. The United States is a governmental body that exists within North America. America, they call it United States of America, but like I said, the Americans are the people who were here, who they found here in the 1828 Merriam-Webster dictionary definition of American. Very simple. So if we are the original Americans, those copper-colored races, those copper-colored people, which we are, if we are those people who are described in the 1828 Merriam-Webster dictionary definition of American, which we are, then why are we asking Europeans for a recognition? Why are we asking Europeans for recognition? Make that make sense to me. Make that make sense to me. Why are we asking Europeans for recognition in America, in our country? You know, when they were talking about the American Indians, they was talking about our, not talking about the Native Americans. They are, the Native Americans are considered to be the 5 civilized tribes, the ones that the U.S. government were okay with allowing to call themselves American Indians, even though they're not American Indians. That's why they don't use that term American Indian, because they're not indigenous to America. Indian is another way of saying indigenous. It really is. It's another way of saying, that was their way of saying that we are the people of the land, of the negros de terras, as the Portuguese would say. Tariq Nasheed pointed out, which I'm gonna get to him in a second. But I heard a lot of guys come out here and say, yeah, they bragging about having federal recognition, with the government, the federal government, and talking about what they get money. And I hope it's not something that Black people start doing. Okay, we waking up to the fact that we first Americans, that we American indigenous people. Please don't turn this into no goddamn, can we have a handout because we American Indians now? Can we get a couple of $1,000s a month? And I'm like, okay, that's crumbs. That's crumbs. That is crumbs. Okay. Yeah, the 5 Christian tribes. Exactly. The Mongoloid Native Americans. The Mongoloid Native Americans. And these people right now are the face of what is American, Native American. These people are the Native Americans, the Mongoloid looking people. They're the face of what they're showing you the Native Americans to be. They don't call them American Indians. They call them Native Americans, which again can apply to any, that term Native American can apply to any immigrant who came into this country and then turns around and after a few generations of being born here, their children can also claim Native American now. And that's what happened with the Native Americans, the Mongoloid Indian, the Mongoloid so-called Red Indians, right? Which they're not Indians. Again, they're Native Americans. They're the first immigrants of America, actually. They're the first immigrants. The first people to migrate into America is your Native Americans, who are Asiatic people from Siberia. They're your first migrants into America, but there was already a people here, a people who were here, an indigenous people who were always here by nationality. You see, the science, the geology, the historians, the historians and all these people, they don't want to admit that America already had an indigenous population before the Native Americans arrived here, supposedly 25,000 years ago. And I don't even believe that number. Remember, I told you, I said, I just don't believe things people tell me based on logic. I don't just believe stuff. Remember, the greatest power we have to basically discern whether people are telling us lies, making up stuff. The greatest power we have is our senses, our intelligence. We know what sounds right and what don't sound right, what don't make sense. And like I always say, if it doesn't logically make sense, then it's not the truth. I'm going to say it again. If it don't logically make sense, then it's not the truth. Like the whole transatlantic slave ship story never made sense. It never made sense. Ever, ever. How many of y'all willing to admit that the transatlantic slave ship story never made sense? That they transported millions of our people over from Africa into America. And that's the first time we got into America. That's a damn lie. That is a bold-faced lie. But history will say that. Meaning that these Caucasians, these racist lying Caucasians will make up false history so that they can put themselves at the forefront of the face of America. So they were willing to erase a whole bunch of people, if not by genocide. They would be ready to erase a whole bunch of people by a paper genocide, meaning to erase us as Americans, as indigenous people, as we are known. They wanted to erase us in that way. And they, for the most part succeeded, because our people don't even know that they're indigenous to America. We get people sitting up here arguing with us about, oh, we ain't indigenous. You get a lot of these people coming up here quoting these lies from European/United States history. U.S. history. We already know U.S. history is the whitewashing of American history. And what is American history? We are American history. Before the colonial occupation of our land, before the European colonial occupation of our land, America, they, we had a long history, the longest history here of anybody, because we are the people who did not come from someplace else. We were always here in America, and they want to keep acting. I'm talking about your racist Euro scientists, the racist American scientists who want to claim America for white people. They want to erase the people that were here before white people. Now it's easy. It's very easy to erase the Native Americans. Why? Because it ain't but a few of them. Their numbers are not extensive. So of course, the United States government, they don't mind promoting these people as Native Americans, as people who are indigenous, because it's not that many of them to really make a difference. But the minute you know that America is a so-called black country, is actually a black country, and that the indigenous people here are actually the black Americans, the people you calling black Americans, the people who you don't reclassify. I can't even count the number of times they don't reclassify people, calling us everything from damn Negroes to colored to Negro, colored, mulatto, African American, black, all these made up names. And we end up trying to wrap ourselves around these made up names. We try to maneuver within these false classifications. You see? So my thing is, why are we going to ask these people for federal recognition again? Why are we doing that? Knowing damn well that, like I said, if they let one or two of y'all claim federal recognition, like I said, what is that going to do? Is that going to get you your reparations? Is that going to make them look at you any kind of way differently? Is it going to yield any kind of benefits? Now, you got certain people say they get money from that, claiming American Indian and things like that, and they sure leave it on the census. So when I see it on the census, I will mark American Indian. If I see it on, not census, but any kind of important documents where they want you to mark your like driver's license, I put American Indian. I don't put African American. I don't put black, because I'm not a black man and I'm not an African. And I'm not going to sit up here and placate to people's fake classifications to do so. Nor am I going to go through filling out paperwork, right, and putting that I'm an American Indian, because I really don't see it as feasible. I don't see it. I don't. It seems disingenuous to ask the very people that went out of their way to reclassify us, because I guarantee you, if more and more of us started doing that, and maybe my thought might change in the future, but I don't foresee it, because I just, when people do you dirty the first time, you can't trust them on the second go round. So if they see a whole bunch of us starting to say we want to be federally recognized as American Indians, that we want to be federally recognized as indigenous peoples of America, eventually there's going to be some kind of law out. You already know how it go. Is somebody going to come out and be, oh, we need to stop because these are African Americans, and somebody going to come with some nonsense and some more lies and whatnot. So I'm like, I think that's something that should be done gradually over time. Start by having our own community, and be able to wear those titles and wear them honorably as Americans, really be able to wear the title honorably as first Americans, so that we're not sitting out here just being another a title we putting on, like Moor, like Muslim, like Israelite, like Christian, like Pan-African, let's Kemet, ancient Kemite, whatever. All these things that we don't want to make this another cultural title. Not trying to make it another cultural title. We're actually trying to make this our living heritage as Americans. Forward people, first Americans again, because, it just seemed like this is just a new wave with a lot of people like, yeah, we Indians and we American Indians. Okay. Then they tell you, are you going to join a federally recognized, tribe? A federally recognized tribe that's full of Native Americans, Mongolians, right? Some white people. This is a mixed up race of people, a mixed up group of people in these Native American tribes. Why you want to try and join that? You do know that at one point in time, a lot of so-called Black people were part of these Native American tribes. And when George Bush, I don't know if it was senior or junior, one of them, they cut loose a whole bunch of money to these Native American tribes. They kicked all the Black members out of these tribes. There were tribes that was kicking Black people out once that money was getting broken off to the indigenous so-called Native Americans. And the Black people that was part of these tribes was getting kicked to the curb. And they were being told they not indigenous to America, you Black, you African, and all this other stuff. You see, this is what they do to our people. You see, even the so-called Native Americans who you might be standing next to, claiming that you federally recognize with them, they'll turn around and still call you a wabo, a wannabe. You ain't, all of that. So again, why do you want to be amongst these people? And let me tell you something, the whole tribal thing, our people shouldn't even be checking for this whole tribal thing, because the tribal thing is what got our people in trouble. What do I mean by that? Because our people were in all these different tribes, all these different American indigenous tribes all over the place, we couldn't form no real unification with each other. We couldn't come together at a time where we really needed to come together, to protect our land, defend our land from these racist Europeans who was coming over here to colonize our land. We could not make an effective stand here as indigenous Americans, as real Americans. We couldn't make a real stand because we had so many sellouts, so many turncoats, so many people in different tribes operating on a whole nother type of thing. So they were making deals with the sellouts, the traders. And that's what happens when you have tribalism. You leave too much room for people to come and push their way into what you're doing, push their way into what you're trying to accomplish. You leave a lot of room for these people to do that. You leave a lot of room for these people to push their way in to what you're, into what you're trying to do. Like I said, because all the tribal thing does is cause division. That's all it ever did. That's why we couldn't stand together as one nation, because we were supposed to do that, like how the Europeans came here and they were able to stand together as one nation. They put all that European stuff aside. They put aside the whole, English and Scottish and whatever they was. They put all that aside to form a union with each other, a union which became white people, or the so-called white race. They got together again. They put their tribalism aside. And what did we do? We sat up here and hung on to our tribalism even to this day. Even to this day, we still got tribalism going on with our people. You see? Oh yeah, I know he's switching up the boosted sales for Hidden Color 6. I know. Because, and let me say something. I'm gonna get to that in a second, but we shouldn't have to be seeking no federal recognition. We shouldn't be seeking no federal recognition for people who stole our identity in the first place. What is that going to accomplish? We shouldn't be seeking federal recognition from people who stole our identity in the first place. What is that going to accomplish? They're going to give us some money. They're going to say, oh, because they're going to say that we have to be part of some tribe. Because I think even Tariq Nasheed said this. I don't want to misquote him, but I really think he did say, and I'm almost going to stand on it. He said that when, you know, we can't really be considered Indians without federal recognition. We can't really be, because that's what I think Tariq Nasheed said. I don't want to misquote him, so I'm going to say allegedly he said that, but I'm pretty sure he did, that without federal recognition, we're not real Indians. In other words, the European colonizer, the racist European colonizers who came over here and stole our identity as Americans, who stole our country, took our land, took all of our fertile farmland, took our name, took force, took our labor for free. Everything was taken from us. But we're going to go and ask these people for our American indigenous heritage. Don't you think they know we American Indians? They already know that. So what is stopping them from saying, oh, well, we don't want to do that? You give these people power over our people. Give them power. We had to ask the thief to give us back what they took from us. You have to ask the thief to give back what you took. You see? That's crazy. Isn't that insane that you would have to ask a thief to give you back that which they have taken from you, that which they have stolen from you? That's insane. That's pure insanity. And the reason why our people have embraced this insanity is because our people got a slave mentality. Just off of, exactly, very delusional, just off of how that sounds. You know, off that just really sounds weak. It sounds really weak that go to the federal government with our tail between our legs, asking for some damn federal recognition for being American Indians, when these are the people that reclassified us. Same government. Oh, y'all could be y'all. There's a reason why, because I don't know how true this is, but there was a story that was out where they said that Pharrell Williams, you know, from the Neptunes, and Snoop Dogg, they wanted to come out and classify themselves as American Indians, not as African Americans. They, according to what I don't know how true it is, they was told by they handlers, you know, publicity people, that's a no-go. They don't want that done. They don't want them going out here and declaring themselves to be American Indian, because what that'll do is it'll cause an avalanche of so-called Black Americans to start claiming American indigenous heritage. And they don't really want that. It's okay for a few of y'all to do it in pockets, you know, here and there. Yeah, I'm American Indian. But if real influencers like the your rappers and all these other music people, if they start doing that, they know it will cause the U.S. government and the people who don't want us to declare ourselves American Indians, they know that will cause a flood, that will cause an avalanche of people starting to, you know, reclassify as American Indians. And they really don't want our people to do that. That's why I said, you know, all that asking for to be federally recognized, I'm trying to understand, what does that do? What exactly does that do for our people? Is it some kind of money thing? Are they looking for money? I mean, make me understand the benefits, like my cup. Like my cup. Yeah. My nickname from Buck Manhattan. Buck around and find out. Anyway, I had to get that. But anyway, so what is that? How does that benefit us? How does it benefit us to declassify ourselves as that? How does that benefit us? Like I said, to get some handouts, you got to be part of a tribe. You already know if Black people join these tribes that's controlled by these Caucasians, by these Native Americans, these Caucasians who calling themselves Native Americans. There's a whole lot of Caucasians calling themselves Native Americans who's heads of these tribes, or a lot of these Black females that run these tribes, a lot of them are liberated quiches. You see, well, I'm just leaving it at that. I might want to say I'm not putting nothing out there, but a lot of them is liberated quiches. So you already know, you go in there asking them to be part of the tribe and whatnot. Oh, why you want to be a part of it? This, that, and the third. Why do we have to be asked to be something or be recognized as something that we are by nature? We are American by nature. We are American by nature. Who did the white man have to ask to be American when he stole our identity? I'm not gonna say all the white, I'm saying your racist Caucasians. Who did they have to ask to become American? Who did they have to ask to federally recognize them? Nobody. Who did they have to ask? Did they ask the indigenous real Americans for recognition? No, they didn't. They just took our identity. And we should just go ahead and take our identity back and just start living as Americans. Cut out all the African American nonsense, all the Black American nonsense, and just be Americans, first Americans, or just Americans. That's it, first Americans. Because first means only, and it also says indigenous. And we should, because a lot of people, they want to get wrapped up in the whole Native American thing. They want to put on the headdresses, because you know how Black people are. You know, like how they was with ancient Kemet. They was walking around with the headpieces on. And, you know, Black people love culture, you know, so they want to put on the headpieces. They want to be seen. They want to, you know, put on their costumes. I'm like, man, come on. We too old for that. We too old to be walking around. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with putting on our feathered head crowns, which we're going to have on at the First American Street and Music Festival. Yes, we are. We're going to have on our head crowns at the First American Street and Music Festival. Yes, we are. We're going to have the feathered ones, the ones that go up in the air, not the ones that come down. That's the Native American style. We rocking the American indigenous ones that go up in the air. Right. And as a result of that, as we are acknowledging who we are as First Americans, because that's very important. It's very key that we live reality, who we are as First Americans. We don't need to be with no tribal people. We don't need to learn nobody's tribal. We don't want to hear no tribal traditions. Because as far as I'm concerned, that's just like that's some cult shit. I'm gonna be honest with you. The tribal stuff sounds cultish, man. I don't want to learn I don't care about no native traditions and all this. I don't care about that. Because when they say register as a Native American, I'm not a Native American. That's another thing. They're not letting you register as an American Indian. You got to register as Native American, because the term American Indian is what they don't allow anymore. They don't let nobody use that. So if you're registering, they might have it on. That's why I said it's good enough to just put it in or write it in as American Indian. Just write it in if you're doing something on the driver's license, something like that, or just check that box. You see, just check that box. You see, all that trying to, go under Native American. You already know who controls the Native American tribes. You already know that. You already know who controls the Native American tribe. That's basically the government saying, well, if them $5 Indians over there, the ones, the Native Americans, if they let you in the tribe and say you're official, then we'll give you federal recognition. They ain't just letting you go and say you a Native American and you asking for that. You got to be part of some federally recognized tribe. Ain't that right? Ain't that right? You got to be part of some federally recognized tribe. Is that not correct? Yes or no? You got to be part of some federally recognized tribe in order to get federal recognition. You can't just go as an individual. You got to go and get lined up with some tribe. You got to be filling out and get a tribal card. That shit sounds stupid, man. I'm going to be honest with you. That's like telling bronze people we need a slave pass. That we need a slave pass to go from one plantation to another. Where your tribal card to prove that you're American Indian? Where your tribal card? That means you got to be part of a tribal group. And like I said, you already know who run that. Tell me I'm wrong. Who runs the tribal groups and whatnot? Who's in charge of that? Who runs that? Who runs that? Who runs the tribe? Huh? Who's in charge of the tribes? Y'all know, come on. Is it black people, so-called black people in charge of the tribe? Who's the tribal elders and chiefs of these tribes? Huh? And again, why do we have to ask for permission again to claim who we are as First Americans? Why? Who's in charge of these tribes? I'd like to know. Yeah. White guys Mongoloid natives and red Mongoloid natives. That's in charge. That's who's in charge. So you got to go to white people again to go through a channel of more white people in the federal government to be acknowledged as an indigenous person in your own land. You tell me that's not some weak, whack ass nonsense. You tell me. You tell me. Is that not sad? Is that not pathetic that you got to go to the very people that robbed you out of your American indigenous status and your American indigenous heritage? You're gonna go to them asking to give it back. You really think they're going? You think they're not gonna make problems for you? You think they're not gonna do that? Again, if you go and do that, and like I said, even if they do, I don't want to be aligned with no Native American tribes. I don't. I'm not Native American. A Native American is an immigrant. Okay, I don't want to be aligned with a Native American tribe. I'm American Indian. I'm First American. Okay, American Indigenous. I'm First American. That's what we say. We First American. All that we recognize ourselves. We recognize ourselves. That's more important than anything. We recognize ourselves as First Americans. The hell with what anybody else talking about. The hell with asking the very people that stripped us of our American identity to give it back to us and let us. Can we just classify and just say that? Okay, you can classify as Native Americans, even though we're not Native Americans. Again, Native Americans are immigrants. So, of course, they ain't got no problem with you classifying as a Native American, as long as you don't say you American Indian. Now, go up there and try and say, won't you, I tell you what you do. Since you think you're a Native American, right, or you think you're indigenous to America under the government, why don't you do this? You black Native Americans get your nigga wake up call. Go and try and form your own tribe, right? Go and try to form your own tribe and go to the government and say, without white representation or Mongoloid representation or being part of anything, go and say you want to identify as your own federally recognized tribe. See what they tell you. They're gonna tell you got to go get permission from the big homies. You got to go to the Native American board of white guys and Asians and questionable looking people, and you could tell these people are not indigenous to America. You got to go and ask them for permission. I mean, don't y'all got any pride? Don't you got any pride? I'm sorry, I'm too proud. I'm not going to ask nobody to give me that. That sounds like some soft shit, man. That sounds like some soft female. Please acknowledge me. Please have a conversation with me. Please let me have a seat at the table. Let me be Native American. Let me be in the tribes so I could get some tribal, some tribe money. No, man, I'm good. I don't need no tribal money. I'm good. Anything short of reparations, I'm good, man. You ain't giving me no reparations. I don't need no whatever little crumbs you're gonna throw off the damn table. It is begging. You always thought it was begging because it is begging. It is. They want you to get on your knees. They want you to go down in the buff and beg a bunch of Caucasians and a bunch of Mongoloids, natives, a bunch of Siberians. They want you to ask the Siberians and the Europeans for permission to claim American Indian. I'm good on that. I'm First American. I don't need nobody's permission. I know my heritage. I know my bloodline. I'm good on that. And speaking of which, now down to the good part. Mr. Tariq Nasheed, the man who represents, who brought out the FBA. I'm not going to call him the FBA leader. I'm not going, he said he don't want to be recognized as a leader of anything. That's what he said. And so I am not going to refer to him as the leader of anything. I'm just going to say this. Mr. Tariq Nasheed, he has spent the block with the FBA thing, because anything that he says, concerning now his newfound heritage, his newfound indigenous American heritage, go figure. He was talking about on that show that I just told you about, if you go check it out, that he don't find no African in his family. He don't find no African slave ships in his family. And that could very well be true. Just as if we go back, we ain't gonna find no African slave ships. And the funny thing about that is I called it out when I saw it, and I put it on TikTok, and I said, I knew that the FBA was going to spin the block. I already knew that was going to happen, because somebody said, shout out to Enru Jenzal, shout out to you. He said Hidden Color 6 is coming out. And they're going to add an indigenous segment to it. I'm pretty sure they're going to start talking about how we indigenous to America, because Tariq Nasheed realizes that the indigenous talk is very popular. And in order to stay popular, in order to stay in the ethos, and in order to stay in the, you know, in the popular universe, in the universe of popularity, he has to now make that change over. He has to tuck his tail between his legs, whereas he was calling everybody else. When people would come to him and say they don't have no black, no African in them, because I done heard plenty of shows where he was calling people pretendians. Yes, he was. He was calling people pretendians, claiming that there was an ethnogenesis that took place where Africans, where continental Africans or West Africans came over here and mixed in with indigenous people, and we are the ethnogenesis of that. But then he comes now and he's saying recently now that he has no African slave ships in his family lineage, that his family was amongst the Lumbee people in North Carolina. Right. And it's no coincidence that the word Lumbee, and from that word Lumbee, I'm pretty sure those people worked in wood, a lot of woodworking, because the furniture factory, which my family's from that furniture town of High Point, North Carolina. I got family members from High Point, North Carolina. And it's a big furniture town. It seems like a lot of houses and things were built through lumber, and who knows, probably the word lumber came from the Lumbee people. I wouldn't be surprised. It was woodworkers and they made furniture. You got our people make furniture and work in wood. Our people were carpenters. Our people were blacksmiths. Our people were skilled labor, man. And we had those skills before the Europeans came here. They didn't teach us that. We was already doing that. We was already working in iron. We was already doing carpentry, building houses, working in lumber, building all that. We built the plantations we built the houses on the slave plantations, even the master's house. They didn't teach us nothing. We already knew how to do that, but they want to give you this idea that we were some ignorant Africans who came off a boat and was just brought here to pick cotton. That's the lie they want to tell, which don't even make sense. I told you, if it don't make sense, it's a lie. It's a lie. So now Mr. Tariq Nasheed is coming out, talking about how he don't find no African slave ships in his family history. Now, when people were saying that and asking him about, okay, and they was questioning the whole African slave ship thing, what was Tariq Nasheed saying? Oh, I don't see how black Americans can't be half African or have no African. They just made it through us all together and said we was Africans. Now, he said that without no real information, without no real proof. He just said that shit. And that's scary, because if you got that much influence where you could just say something and people believe it and nobody questioning you, only for you to come back and do a damn spin around, do a spin the block and come with this. I ain't found no African in my family. But wait a minute. You said we all got African in us, but now all of a sudden you ain't found no African in your family. So I guess that means you ain't an African, huh? What are you trying to say if you're not African? You saying you indigenous now? Because that's what he's saying. He's basically trying to skirt away from the whole stance he took on this ethnogenesis BS that he made up. He trying to spin the block. And a lot of the FBAs, when I point out, some of them came in my comment section on the TikTok, and they was like, what they said, it was like, oh, what's your point? Why are you saying that now? He always said we was indigenous. No, he did not. It was a time with Tariq Nasheed. We can go back not too far. We go back, and he was calling everybody who claimed they had indigenous heritage only. He was calling us pretendians. He was calling us pretendians out of his mouth. He was saying he was talking like one of the Mongoloid Native Americans, and like Umar Johnson with the Pan-African nonsense, calling us pretendians, making fun of us claiming who we are as indigenous people. Now he's talking about how his people was clicked in with the Lumbee tribe in North Carolina. Ain't that something? I don't hear no talk about Africa no more. And you know what? You're not going to hear it. He's going to draw the line because he sees it's popular now. So now all of a sudden the FBA got to do a U-turn, got to do a 360, because he got to sell that documentary, because he wants to stay relevant, because he knows, because there's a lot of people that come up there calling into his show and coming with the indigenous stuff, and it's getting more and more staggering by the minute. More and more people are calling in and just coming with the indigenous stuff, and they don't want to hear no more African nothing. So Tariq's going to go with he's going to go with the flow. If he wants to continue to make money, if he wants to continue to be relevant with his FBA thing, he's going to have to do that. He's going to push the FBA movement toward the indigenous thing. He also, if you listen, and I pointed this out with the term black, he admitted in that show, if you go and listen, he admits that the term black was a reclassification from the racist Europeans, the government. He admits that term black was meant to be a reclassification. He admitted that. So then what happened to we got black skin and we black skinned people? What happened to that? I thought we got black skin and we black skinned people. So now you admitting that black is a reclassification. And now that you know that, are you going to stop calling on people black people, or are you going to go with the white tea supremacists, as you say, and go with they narrative of calling us black people as a form of erasure? Because that's all black people is a form of erasure for the first Americans, our people. It's nothing but a way to erase our people and push them out in the forefront. So if Tariq Nasheed is still going with black, then that says something to you about him right there. Because is he going to go just say we foundational Americans, or he going to leave the black in there, which come from the colonizer? Why would you still call us black people when that term come from the European colonizer? Why? Make that make sense to me. Exactly. That means FBA is invalid. Everything Tariq Nasheed said that constitutes an FBA is now invalid. Because he said to be FBA, you had to go through an ethnogenesis. You don't get to change it up because, you came and found out some information about your family, probably knowledge that it was always there. You didn't bother to do the research. You tried to make fun of Dane Calloway because he said the thing about Nat Turner and Harriet Tubman, but yet you didn't question, and you said his information was garbage based just on that. You didn't say, well, brother, why you should have said, well, brother, why you say that? I want to know why you say that. Maybe you didn't think maybe I could learn something from what this man said before I just call it BS. You just basically was like, it's BS. So you basically wrote off everything he was saying, and he was the one pushing the American indigenous thing. Now you coming with the same thing. Now you coming with the indigenous thing, and now people are supposed to forget that you were standing against it at one time. You were saying we was half indigenous, half African, which is African American. That's what Tariq Nasheed said. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. No, I ain't gonna get into his personal life. They say is he married to a Becky? No, his wife is half. She's half black and half white. She's a mulatto. But I'm not gonna get into the man's personal life because it's not personal. It's just I find it strange that he could just spin the block like nothing happened. And I told y'all he was going to do that. Because again, Tariq Nasheed is a businessman. And again, I'm not watching the man pockets. I don't care about his money and none of that. I'm just saying that for you to sit up here and you try to humiliate people who were coming to you, telling you they were indigenous and whatnot, and then for you to go and do some research, supposedly, maybe you did. I'm not saying you didn't. For you to do some research, supposedly, and then you pop up saying basically what everybody else was telling you when you was making fun of them. I think that's disingenuous. I think you owe people who are claiming American indigenous heritage an apology because you sit up here and tried to embarrass people on your show, and that's all my take was on it. You was speaking out of ignorance. You didn't know what you was talking about when it came to our American heritage. You believe in the African slave trade story, which is a load of BS. Just like you believe that all life started in Africa, which is some more BS, which I'm going to debunk that because I'm not going to do it now because we 62 minutes. I'm about to wrap this up. I didn't want to make it too long, but I just had to, Tariq Nasheed took the whole FBA things into a whole 180-degree turn. Now they're going more toward the indigenous thing. So you gotta look at people, honestly, and unbiasedly and see that when they do stuff like that, because that's the thing, like you was willing, and instead of you saying, well, I don't know much about the indigenous heritage, I got to check into that. You made blanketed statements that, what happened to the slave ships, Tariq? Oh, they sank to the bottom of the river. What? What happened to the African? What if somebody came and said to you, Tariq, oh, your family did come on African slave ships, Tariq, and you say, I didn't find none in my family. Oh, that's because the wreckage sunk or they sunk to the bottom of the river. If somebody came and said some pseudo shit like that to you, you're going to be like trying to debunk it. So when you said that to people about the ships fell under the water and broke up and made up that nonsense, knowing damn well they didn't bring no Africans into North America. They brought them into places like South America and the islands, which is why you see a lot of those African religions over there. You don't see them over here in North America. You see them over here in the islands, and you see them in South America. Not saying it's all over, but that's where they dropped all those people off at. They didn't drop them over here. That's why you know the difference between an African and an American. You see? But Tariq Nasheed, he's not going to say, you know, I messed up. I didn't know no better. I apologize for my ignorance about our indigenous heritage. You just going to spin the block and not say nothing, act like you was all about that all the time. And you're not. You being phony now. But hey, that's your thing. That's all I got on it. Just wanted to give y'all some updates and whatnot. No, we ain't asking for no goddamn federal recognition. We standing on who we are as first Americans. And Tariq Nasheed, of course, the FBA's, you know, they trying to keep up with the times. That's all I can say. He switched up. But anyway, that's it. And we definitely ain't listening to that Daffy Duck nonsense from Umar Johnson. Daffy Duck nonsense. But that whatever. So we got to wrap this up. Can y'all please, before you already know what I'm gonna ask for, right? Let's do it. Can y'all please go to FASM Fest, FASMFEST, FASMFest.com. Go to FASMFest.com. Become a donor, a sponsor to the First American Street Music Festival. You see, we are doing this in real time. We're not just sitting up here on YouTube and saying we American Indian. No, when we saying we First Americans, we standing on it. And that's why we're doing this festival. For those of our people who stand on who we are as First American, then support this festival. Support the festival. We need your help. We working toward $24,000 is our goal. The festival is in May. It's going to be May 16th and 17th, Saturday and Sunday in Atlanta at Rodney Cook Senior Park, down the block from Morehouse and Spelman. And the Mercedes-Benz Stadium is right there. It's a nice, beautiful park. We're going to have trail rides out there. Please go and donate to that. The link will be in the description. Go there. Somebody put the link in. My lovely wife put the link in. So we're going to be doing that. Go to FASMFest.com and donate. Donate. We need your help. We need support. We need your support. We're inviting all of our people out here who donate to partake in this. We're going to have our First American shirts out there for sale. And I'm going to say this. The first 60 people. I'm gonna be the first 60 people. No, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till y'all. Let me see what y'all do first. I was about to. I'll say the first 50 people. I'm gonna say the first 50 people who donates at least $60 toward the festival. We'll give you one of these shirts. The first 60 people, only because I like the number 6 is a powerful number. The first people that 60 people $60 at least to the festival, we'll send you one of these shirts for free. That's on me. That's my gratitude for Supreme American. We're going to have a lot of merchandise out there at the First American Street Music Festival. This is celebrating who we are as First Americans of America solely. We're not celebrating no connection to Africa because we don't have none. We're not celebrating no Kemet or no Black, none of that stuff. We celebrating who we are as First Americans of America. That's it. So support FASM Fest. And make a donation, go FASMFest.com, FASMFEST. If you want to sponsor, if you want to donate, if you want to set up a table, if you want to come out, get in touch with us. Let us know. We'll tell you what you have to do. If you want to perform, we're going to have live performances out there. We're going to have DJ out there. We're going to have trail rides out there. We're going to have merchandise out there. There's going to be plenty of food. We're going to do it up big. I want to bring some break dances out there, some double Dutch girls doing double Dutch. So if anybody know anything about the people who want to do that, who in that area, in Atlanta area, who want to do double Dutch, young American girls, come on out and do that. Young bronze American girls, come on out and do that. You see, there, no Kemet, no Africa, no red, black, and green. We ain't doing none of that. We American, man. We First Americans. That's it. The red, blue, and gold. The red, blue, and gold. Throw a little white in the middle. That ain't for the Caucasians. That's, just for the clean slate. But, it is what it is. But FasmFest.com. Go to FasmFest.com, donate, become a sponsor. If you want to set up a table, if you want to perform, go and do that. Go hit us up. Also, if you acknowledge the truth of this message and you know that you are a first American of America, you can go to ROA Worldwide, and you can become a registered first American in the Republic of America. Become a registered first American in the American community, our American community, where we have our own American names, we got our own American language, we got our own American flags within our community. This is for us. You see, we need to be celebrating our American heritage and our culture as Americans. We don't need no recognition from nobody else because we're not signing up more, no nothing. There's no African Americans no more. That died with Jesse Jackson, man. Good riddance to African American. We first Americans over here. So let's evolve as a people. If you acknowledge that to be the truth, then join, come to roaworldwide.com, become a registered first American in the Republic of America. Also, can you give this a thumbs up? Give this a thumbs up, like this cast, give it a thumbs up, share the cast, spread the word that we doing this, you know, American style. So spread the word, give this a thumbs up, subscribe. Also, you can subscribe to my other channel, the Realist channel under Buck Manhattan. You know, that's me too, Buck Manhattan. Everybody, you know, that's, you know, my nickname, Buck Manhattan. So go and check that out, the Realist channel. Also check out the American Indigenous channel under Sister Enra Vincetta Mentangelin. Go check out the American Indigenous channel on YouTube. Check out my Mentellect Patreon channel, Mentellect Patreon. Only $15 a month, and you're getting some of the realest and the rawest knowledge out there, the realest and the rawest real truth, not no BS, not no smoke and mirrors, real truth. So, you know, become a patron, Mentellect Patreon. Also go to Draconian Rules.com for some of the finest teas and whatnot. This is going to be from our First American apparel, First American, you know, apparel. We're going to have t-shirts and all that stuff. So you go check out the if you want to purchase this shirt, go hit the link down below and go on the Fasm Fest page. You'll see the shirt link down there where we got those. We get them in other sizes and whatnot. And that's it. So I want to thank you all for listening. Thank you all for spending time. I got to get ready for my other cash. I'm gonna close this out. And I'm in I trust, and Lord, I'm in I trust, and Lord, I'm in I thinking, and Lord, I'm in I seal off this message. Good night.
Tariq.